All right, so today we are going deep, really deep into the world of Sam Altman.
Sam Altman, yeah.
Like we've gone through everything out there. I mean, all the articles, all the interviews.
Yeah.
And tried to bring you the most important stuff, the most interesting parts of his story.
I think what we really want to do is, there's a lot of biographical information out there. We want to get into that, of course, like you got to know the background, right?
Yeah.
But we want to go beyond that into, what are the patterns? What can we learn from his story?
Yeah. What are the themes that emerge?
Exactly. Like, what are the takeaways? So you can leave this, this deep dive feeling like you really got to know the guy and what makes him tick.
Absolutely.
And maybe what we can learn from him too.
Yeah.
So Samuel Harris Altman, that's his full name.
Samuel Harris Altman.
Born April 22nd, 1985.
Okay.
In Chicago, Illinois. But really, he grew up in St. Louis, Missouri.
Interesting.
Yeah, in a Jewish family.
Mm-hmm.
His mother is a dermatologist. His father was a real estate broker. And he's the oldest of 4 kids.
Okay.
I think one of the striking things is just how early he got into technology.
Right.
I mean, we're talking like really early. He was 8 years old when he got his first computer, an Apple Macintosh.
Wow.
And, most kids at that age are just playing games, right?
Sure, yeah.
But he was already learning to code.
Yeah.
He was taking apart the hardware, like trying to figure out how it all worked. I mean, that kind of intense curiosity, that early hands-on approach is often a really good sign of, future innovators in tech.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what those early projects were like.
Right. Like, what was he building at 8 years old?
It's got to be fascinating.
Yeah. So he goes to John Burroughs School in Ladue, Missouri.
Okay.
And then, of course, he ends up at Stanford studying computer science. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
He drops out.
He drops out of Stanford.
After just 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. In 2005 without a bachelor's degree.
This is it's a pretty common story in Silicon Valley, right? These tech titans dropping out of college to pursue their dreams.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder about the value of a formal degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for people like Altman and so many others in tech, it seems like that combination of passion, early engagement, and maybe a little bit of impatience can sometimes be just as valuable, maybe even more valuable than the traditional academic path.
And I think, for some people, it's not even a choice, right? They're just so driven, they can't wait.
Right.
Got to get out there and build things.
Exactly. So after Stanford in 2005, Altman co-founds this company called Looped.
Looped?
And he's only 19 at the time.
Wow, 19 years old.
So Looped was a location-based social networking app.
Okay. Yeah. Remember those?
Yeah, this was back when location-based services were like the hot new thing.
Right.
So he's not just a co-founder, he's the CEO.
The CEO.
And as CEO, he manages to raise, get this, over $30 million in venture capital.
$30 million.
From some big-name firms. New Enterprise Associates, Sequoia Capital, and Y Combinator.
Y Combinator, wow.
That's a lot of money for a 19-year-old to be, responsible for.
It's incredible.
It really shows, his ability to persuade people, to get them to buy into his vision.
Mm-hmm.
But, as we all know, the social networking space, it's brutal.
Oh, yeah.
It's super competitive.
They're very competitive.
And despite all that funding, Looped never really took off the way they'd hoped.
Yeah.
It was acquired in 2012 by Green Dot Corporation.
Okay.
For $43.4 million.
So not a failure by any means?
No, not at all. I mean, it's a decent exit.
But not the billion-dollar unicorn they were probably hoping for.
Right. But, even though Looped wasn't a massive hit, you got to think, Altman learned a ton from that experience.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he got real-world experience in building a startup, in fundraising, in dealing with investors.
Yeah, the whole Silicon Valley roller coaster.
Exactly. So those lessons are invaluable. And they probably helped him a lot with his later ventures.
And those later ventures are even more interesting because in 2011, Altman joins Y Combinator.
Ah, YC.
Yeah, YC. And he becomes president of YC from 2014 to 2019.
No, for those who don't know, Y Combinator is like, it's the Harvard of startups.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this incredibly influential startup accelerator.
Some of the biggest names in tech got their start there.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about Airbnb, Dropbox, Stripe, Reddit.
Yeah.
So many huge companies.
Huge.
And under Altman's leadership, YC just explodes. I mean, in 2014, he writes in a blog post that the total valuation of all YC companies is over $65 billion.
Wow.
It's insane.
65 billion.
Yeah, it shows you the kind of impact YC was having.
Huge impact.
Yeah. And Altman, he's got big plans for YC. He wants to fund 1,000 new companies every year.
1,000.
Yeah, 1,000. And he also wants to expand the types of companies they're funding. He's really interested in this thing called hard technology.
Okay, what is hard technology?
So hard technology is, stuff that requires like real scientific breakthroughs, real engineering breakthroughs, not just software.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So things like biotechnology, robotics, clean energy.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then in October 2015, he announces this new thing, YC Continuity.
YC Continuity, okay.
It's a $700 million equity fund.
Oh, wow.
Designed to invest in more mature YC companies, like companies that have already gone through the accelerator program and are ready to scale up.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like a next level support system for the most promising YC startups.
Smart.
Yeah. And then just a week before that, he launches YC Research.
Okay.
Which is a nonprofit research lab.
Interesting.
And he personally donates $10 million to get it started.
That's pretty serious commitment.
Right. It shows you he's not just interested in making money. He's really interested in pushing the boundaries of science and technology.
Yeah.
But then in March 2019, he steps down as president of YC. He becomes chairman of the board, but he's stepping back from the day-to-day operation.
Okay.
The reason
Why?
He wants to focus on OpenAI.
OpenAI, and by early 2020, he's completely done with YC.
Yeah.
All right, so OpenAI.
OpenAI. This is the big one.
This is what he's most known for.
Yeah, I mean, this is the company that really put him on the map.
Yeah, it's huge. So let's talk about it.
Okay, so OpenAI. It's founded in December 2015.
Okay.
And the mission is really ambitious. It's to develop friendly AI.
Friendly AI.
Yeah, AI that benefits humanity. That's the whole idea.
Right. So not the Terminator scenario.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the co-founders, I mean, it's a pretty impressive group.
Who are we talking about?
So you've got Elon Musk.
Okay.
Jessica Livingston, who's a partner at Y Combinator.
Oh, okay.
And Peter Thiel.
Oh, wow.
Like, those are some serious names in tech.
Yeah.
And they raise a ton of money, $1 billion in commitments from founders and investors.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
That's a lot of faith in their mission.
Right. And some of those investors are huge. I mean, you've got Microsoft, you've got Amazon Web Services. So they've got a lot of support from the industry.
So Altman becomes CEO of OpenAI in 2019.
That's right.
Right. And that's when he really focuses on it full time.
Yeah. But his time as CEO has been it hasn't been smooth sailing.
Oh, right. There was that whole drama in November 2023.
Yeah, November 2023, he gets ousted by the board.
She's just gone.
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere.
And the board says they lost confidence in his leadership.
Okay.
And they were concerned about his candor, like he wasn't being completely open with them.
Wow.
But then just a couple of days later, Microsoft announces that he's joining them.
He's going to Microsoft
to lead a new advanced AI research team.
So it seemed like he landed on his feet pretty quickly.
Yeah, but then things got even crazier.
Oh, right.
Because hundreds of OpenAI employees, I mean, we're talking about like almost all of them, they threatened to quit.
They threatened to quit if Altman doesn't come back.
Yeah, they signed this open letter saying that they won't work for OpenAI unless the board members who fired Altman resign.
Mm-hmm.
And even Ilya Sutskever, who's one of the co-founders and was, apparently one of the main people behind Altman's removal.
Yeah.
He comes out and says he regrets it.
He apologizes.
Yeah, he apologizes. It's crazy.
So it's like this mass employee revolt.
It is.
I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it shows you the kind of loyalty that Altman inspired.
And it works.
Yeah, because just 2 days later, Altman's back.
He's back as CEO.
Yeah.
And Greg Brockman comes back as president.
Right.
So it's like this whole thing never happened.
Right. I mean, talk about a turnaround.
Yeah.
But then in March 2024, Altman rejoins the OpenAI board.
He's back on the board.
Yeah, after this review by a law firm.
So So clearly there was some stuff going on behind the scenes.
Oh, definitely.
That we don't fully understand.
Yeah, I mean, there were allegations that Altman was withholding information
Okay.
about things like the release of ChatGPT
Oh, wow.
and his ownership of OpenAI's startup fund.
Mm.
And there were also some reports of psychological abuse from some of the executives.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
That's pretty serious.
It is.
So we don't really know the full story.
No, we don't.
But clearly there were some issues there.
Yeah. And it makes you think about, what's really going on inside these high pressure tech companies.
Yeah.
Where the stakes are so high and
Yeah.
and people are working so hard.
Right.
But despite all that, Altman's also been a very public figure.
Oh, yeah.
He testified before the Senate in May 2023
I did.
about the need for AI oversight.
Mm-hmm.
And after ChatGPT came out and just blew up, he went on this world tour,
Oh, right.
visited 22 countries, met with a bunch of world leaders.
Wow.
So, he's not just a tech CEO, he's also become this kind of global figure.
A thought leader.
Yeah, someone who's really shaping the conversation about AI.
Yeah. So let's move on to another one of his ventures, which is pretty unique.
Oh, which one?
WorldCoin.
WorldCoin. Yeah.
And the company behind it, Tools for Humanity.
Okay.
So he co-founded Tools for Humanity in 2019.
Okay.
And their mission is pretty interesting. They're developing systems that scan people's irises.
Their irises. Okay.
For authentication and proof of personhood.
Proof of personhood. Interesting.
Yeah.
So basically, in this increasingly digital world, it's getting harder and harder to prove who you are.
Right.
And they're saying, well, your iris is unique.
Right. Yeah.
It's like a fingerprint.
So the idea is that you can use your iris to verify your identity online.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then WorldCoin is the cryptocurrency that they're giving out to people who agree to have their iris scanned.
Oh.
So it's kind of like a universal basic income,
I see.
but paid out in cryptocurrency.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a very ambitious project.
You're very ambitious.
But it's faced some hurdles.
What kind of hurdles?
Well, for one thing, it's not available in the United States.
Oh, okay.
They say it's because of privacy concerns,
Mm-hmm.
and there've been some issues with fraud.
Oh, big.
And then on top of that, there have been regulatory investigations or suspensions in a bunch of countries.
Where are we talking?
So France, the UK, Germany,
Mm-hmm.
South Korea, Kenya, Spain, Portugal, Hong Kong.
Wow, that's a pretty long list.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's all because of these concerns about privacy and the potential for fraud.
Yeah.
So WorldCoin's got a lot of challenges to overcome.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Definitely.
All right. So aside from OpenAI and WorldCoin, Altman's also got his fingers in a lot of other pies.
Oh yeah, he's a busy guy.
Back in 2012, he co-founded a venture capital firm with his brother Jack
Okay.
called Hydrazine Capital.
Hydrazine Capital. Okay.
Yeah. And then in 2021, he co-founded a SPAC
A SPAC. Okay.
called Alt-C Acquisition Corp.
Alt-C. Okay.
Yeah, and he was CEO of that.
Right.
And they ended up merging with his clean energy company, Oklo Inc.
Oklo.
Yeah, which went public in 2024. And he's chairman of Oklo.
Right.
And he's also chairman of another clean energy company, Helion Energy.
Helion. Wow.
Yeah.
So he's really into clean energy.
He is.
Yeah, interesting.
He also has a bunch of other investments in companies like Humane,
Okay.
which is developing wearable AI technology.
Okay.
Retro Biosciences, which is focused on longevity research.
Longevity. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Boom Technology, which is trying to bring back supersonic air travel.
Oh, wow.
Cruise, the self-driving car company.
Okay.
And even Airbnb and Stripe.
So, I mean, his portfolio is all over the place.
Yeah, he's all over the map.
It's like he's interested in everything.
And he was also the CEO of Reddit for a very short time.
Oh, right. I remember that.
8 days.
Yeah, 8 days.
In 2014.
Yeah.
And he was on their board until 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And he was actually a significant shareholder in Reddit before they went public in 2024.
Oh, wow.
He owned about 9% of the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And he was also reportedly involved in in helping to save some startups during that Silicon Valley bank crisis.
Oh, right.
Back in March 2023.
Yeah, when everyone was panicking.
Yeah.
He stepped in and helped out.
Yeah. So he's a pretty well-connected guy.
Oh, definitely.
He's got a lot of influence in Silicon Valley.
Yeah. And he's obviously very successful. I mean, he's a billionaire now.
Yeah. He debuted on the Bloomberg Billionaires Index in March 2024.
Wow.
With an estimated net worth of $2 billion.
$2 billion, yeah.
And his investment portfolio is valued at around $2.8 billion.
So, I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and it's actually raised some questions about potential conflicts of interest.
Oh, right, because he's got investments in so many different companies.
Yeah, and some of those companies could potentially benefit from the work that OpenAI is doing.
Right.
So there's some concern about whether he can really be objective.
Yeah, but both Altman and OpenAI have said that they're committed to being transparent.
Okay.
So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, but aside from his financial success, he's also received a lot of recognition.
Oh yeah.
He's got an honorary Doctor of Engineering degree from the University of Waterloo.
Okay.
He got Indonesia's first golden visa in 2023.
Wow.
And he won the X Fund Experiment Cup in 2024.
Okay.
And Time magazine named him one of the 100 most influential people in the world in 2023.
Wow.
And their CEO of the year for 2023.
Okay.
And he's also on Time's list of the 100 most influential people in AI.
For both 2023 and 2024.
Yeah. And earlier in his career, he was recognized by Business Week as one of the best young entrepreneurs in technology.
Okay.
And Forbes named him a top investor under 30.
So, I mean, he's racking up the accolades.
He is.
Yeah. And he's also been invited to the Bilderberg meeting.
The Bilderberg meeting.
Yeah, which is this super exclusive gathering of world leaders and business executives.
Okay.
And he's been invited 3 times.
Wow.
2016, 2022, and 2023.
So he's definitely moving in some pretty elite circles.
He is.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about his personal life.
Okay.
So he's been a vegetarian since he was a kid.
Okay.
And he's openly gay.
Mm-hmm.
He came out when he was 17.
Okay.
And he married Oliver Mullerin in January 2024.
Okay.
And they have one child who was born in February 2025.
Okay.
And they signed the Giving Pledge.
The Giving Pledge, yeah.
In May 2024.
So they're pledging to give away most of their wealth.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
And Altman's also said that he's a prepper.
A prepper, okay.
Like he's preparing for like a societal collapse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's got guns, he's got gold, he's got property in Big Sur. Yeah. So he's definitely thinking about the long term.
Yeah, in a very specific way.
Right. And then there's also this lawsuit filed in January 2025 by his sister, Ann Altman, alleging sexual abuse.
Wow.
Yeah. And Altman and his family have denied the allegations. They say it's completely untrue.
Mm-hmm,
so that's an ongoing legal matter.
Yeah, that's a serious situation.
It is.
Yeah.
So Altman's also been involved in politics.
Okay.
He actually considered running for governor of California back in 2018.
Wow.
Yeah. And he announced this political project called the United Slate.
The United Slate. Okay.
Yeah.
What's that about?
So it was supposed to be focused on housing and healthcare policy.
Okay.
And then in 2019, he held a fundraiser for Andrew Yang.
Andrew Yang.
And in 2020, he donated to Joe Biden's super PAC.
Okay.
So he seems to be leaning towards the Democratic Party, and he's a big supporter of land value taxation and universal basic income.
Okay.
And he's even proposed this idea of universal basic compute.
Universal basic compute. Okay.
Yeah, which is basically free computing power for everyone.
Interesting.
Tied to the increasing capabilities of AI.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And he was also involved in supporting Dean Phillips's challenge to Joe Biden in the 2023 primaries.
Okay.
And then more recently, in November 2024, he was named to San Francisco Mayor-elect Daniel Lurie's transition team.
Okay.
So he's still very much engaged in politics.
Yeah. Yeah. And finally, we have to talk about the lawsuit that Elon Musk filed against OpenAI and Altman in March 2024.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So Musk is alleging that OpenAI has abandoned its original mission.
Okay.
And that they're now more focused on profit than on benefiting humanity.
Okay. So he's basically saying that they've gone astray.
Yeah. And OpenAI's response is that Musk only contributed $45 million of his initial pledge,
Okay.
and that he had actually tried to merge OpenAI with Tesla
Oh, wow.
or take control of it himself.
Okay.
So it's kind of a messy situation.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of bad blood there.
Yeah. And it really highlights the challenges of governing these powerful AI companies.
Definitely.
So that's Sam Altman.
Yeah, that's Sam Altman. What a story, huh?
It really is. I mean, he's a fascinating guy.
He is.
And he's clearly had a huge impact on the world.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see what he does next.
Absolutely. I mean, he's still relatively young.
He is.
He's only 40 years old.
Yeah, so who knows what the future holds for him.
And you know, when you think about all the things that he's involved in,
Yeah.
from AI to clean energy to politics,
Yeah.
even prepping for the apocalypse.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, what drives him?
Yeah, what is the underlying motivation?
Yeah, what's the big picture for him?
And what's the long-term impact of all this stuff going to be?
Right. I mean, he's obviously trying to shape the future,
Yeah.
but how's it all going to play out?
Yeah, it's a question for all of us.
It is.
Yeah.
So that's something for you to think about.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for joining us.